All right, ShineOners, this right here, this thing has caused so much headache for so many marketers. You don't know what this is. This is the new, well, I guess not new anymore. It's been out for months. iOS 14.56, 7, whatever version we're on now, update that says by default, all users of all apps are not allowing their apps to track. So therefore, it makes life a lot harder to advertise on Facebook. There are two issues with this update. The first is tracking. We're having a much harder time tracking our ads and seeing where the conversions are coming from. The second is optimization. The fix I'm going to show you today, either on our platform or on a Shopify store, fixes the tracking issue. That's pretty cool. So now we can finally know where our ads are going from, which ad sets or ads themselves are getting the conversions. We can turn off the right stuff. We can duplicate the right stuff. What it does not solve is optimization. So there's a whole nother thing that we got to work on for optimization. We'll talk about that towards the end of this video. It's going to be a long one because I want to show you how to set up this stuff for both the platform and for your Shopify store. So buckle up, get your learning hats on, get the coffee that you need, and let's get going. So what is the solve for this? And it's nothing new. It's not anything fancy. They are UTM tags. It's how we use them that will be efficient and will get you back to 100% tracking accuracy. UTM tags have been around forever. I've been using them for more than a decade at this point. And all they do is they append to the end of your URL string and they pass data back and forth. Pretty cool, right? So why is this some revolutionary thing? Well, the thing that we have solved, or that I'm going to show you here today, is all about what we call first-party tracking. And that's the big shift that's going on right now in the internet marketing world. See, for years, we operated, or the internet marketing space mainly operated off of a cookie. And a cookie was a third-party thing that allowed, I gave permission as a website owner to allow a third party, Google or Facebook or some other ad platform, to take the data from my site and use it. Now, it was to my benefit that they use it, but it was also to their benefit. Laws have changed, guidelines have changed, Facebook or Apple's update has changed this to where now we have to rely on first-party data. The first solve that Facebook came out with, which we'll talk about, is Conversion API. And Conversion API did okay when it was a user using a web browser that was blocking cookies. So you could add an extension and say, I don't want an ad blocker, right? I don't want to see ads. CAPI, or Conversion API, kind of solved that. When we introduce iOS 14.5, that doesn't solve that. We're not seeing very good attribution. We're not seeing the tracking issues, even on Conversion API. It's not solving that problem. Really wasn't initially designed to solve that problem. It was designed to get around ad blockers so the data could still pass through. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into the proper setup of this for the platform. So the next bit of this video is going to focus 100% on the platform and how we set that up. So if you are a Shopify app user, you may want to scroll down or scroll through this video a little bit. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to put this down and we're going to pull up this guy and we're going to go to the platform because that's where we belong. Okay, so here we are in our platform. And what we need to do is connect our platform UTM stuff that we can use with our ads manager. So what we need are the correct formats. So UTM tags is a form of, it's not really coding, but it's kind of coding as it has dynamic tokens and things like that. So copy and pasting is going to be your friend. You don't want to really type this stuff out because if you miss one squiggly bracket or you miss a period somewhere or a dash, that's going to mess the system up and make it not work. Okay, so with the platform, we're going to be focusing on these tags depending on what you want to do and how you want to track. Our platform does a fantastic job of bringing this data in and reporting it as 100% accurate. Our devs did a fantastic job with this. There is some limitation on amount of size for text, so the amount of text that can fit in a column. So I would recommend for you to optimize and really track one of the 3 attributes that we're looking for. And by that I mean your campaign name, your ad set name, or your ad name. Okay? Now, whether you do CBO or ABO style of advertising, campaign budget or ad set budget, you may want to go between campaign name or ad set name. Very popular ad setup right now is a 111 CBO. I was using it last year in 2020. It worked well. It works okay right now, but then again, most things just work okay right now. With that, I can optimize because I use the same naming convention for my campaign name and my ad set name. If I'm split testing creatives or ads, and I have more than one ad in an ad set, I will use the ad name token because that's what's different. That's the unique identifier. So UTMs are great, but there is a little bit more legwork. You have to name your campaign name, your ad set name, and your ad name something unique. Otherwise, it'll lump the stuff together. And as we go through this, I'll kind of show. So let's say we are going to test ad set names. So we're going to have one ad set per whatever we're doing, and there's only going to be one ad in that ad set. So I'll grab the ad set token here and copy it. And then we'll navigate to our business manager. And which URL do you want? Okay, and we'll create a test campaign here. Versions. Test. Now, a lot of us, especially if you're a media buyer that's been around a long time, would roll something along those lines. They'd have a naming convention for their campaign, they'd have a name for their ad set, and they'd have a name for their ad. I have fallen victim to this before I was utilizing UTMs. If you run this format, and you run and you duplicate it, and you have the exact same names, and that's not going to help you. So you need to be specific. So come up with a proper naming convention. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. It's your naming convention. So whether it's, so we usually have like, I picked something along the lines of the phrase, so you are enough. And if it's a CBO campaign, or I may even shorten it. If I know that you are enough, I'll go UAE. And you'll see that in our tracking. So YAE, thank you very much, is for the phrase identifier, okay? And then we would want a target. So let's say we're going to target family on this one. And then we can throw in 25 plus male, okay? Or whatever our thing is going to be, 35 plus male, right? Then we go to ad set. Now, if this is a 1x1x1 CBO, I would name it the campaign name and the ad set name the exact same. If I'm going to have more than one ad set in the campaign, then I would go something along the lines of UAE family 35 plus male 1, and then name the next one 2, the next one 3, the next one 4, and the next one 5. Doesn't have to be anything fancy, but it does have to be unique. Now let's say I'm rolling in 4 different ads in this. So then I would go YAE family, and then something specific about that creative. I don't want to go with creative 1, creative 2, creative 3, because in my head, that means I have to memorize what the image is, right? So I usually do some type of identifier like, so this one would be angled black. So this would be an angled image with a black background, okay? Something specific to the creative to where I can look at it and go, oh yeah, I know which ad that actually is. All right, so then we can continue there. And I'm not going to set up the rest of it because it's just a test ad, but we'll go over to ad. So you're going to be in ad, and then you're going to scroll down all the way to URL parameters. So this section down here. In URL parameters, you're going to paste your UTM. Okay. Now, if you keep this convention where it says this little token, Facebook will dynamically bring in whatever your ad set name is. So as long as your ad set names are unique, you will get accurate tracking because everything will be separated. If we duplicated this ad set 5 times and it had the exact same name 5 times, our platform and in Shopify will lump all those conversions together, and you won't see exactly which ad set got the conversion. So it's very, very important if you're going to use UTMs to separate the names, make the names unique. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, right? It's the same information if you're duplicating it, and then just go 1, 2, 3, 4, depending on what the duplications are. All right. So if we have that set up and the URL parameters in there like that, then that is your entire setup. That's it. So now what information do we get? If we scroll into here, you can access the information one of 2 ways. If you do not have any sales yet, you'll have to do it by this way, which is by going into your dashboard, clicking My Products, All Products. Go. And now we can pick all of our products. And let's say we want to look at individual, let's say we're running traffic to this product. Then we'll scroll down here to links and we'll go view product analytics. And we'll click that. And we'll be able to see our UTM data by scrolling down a little bit more and going down to here. And we'll see our UTM campaigns. If you have sales already, you can go analytics. This is what the analytics page would look like. And then you can scroll down to top sellers and click on it. Okay? So now let's look at the information we have. So this actually was, when I ran this test, this was running off of an image tag, or yeah, the ad name tag. So instead of ad set, it was ad. But that's because I was running one ad set with these multiple ads and seeing if Facebook could do any kind of decent job of picking the correct image or the best image to work. Can't. They did not do a very good job at it. But it's part of our learning phrases or our learning tests so that we can say, hey, this is how you should set this stuff up. This is what's not working for us. This is what is working for us. It's not, we will never be able to give you a silver bullet. We'll never be able to say, take this phrase on this thing with this setup, targeting these people, and this ad. And the reason I say that is not because we're trying to be mean or anything. It's because Facebook ads perform differently for different ad accounts and across the board. Like your pixel is slightly different than our pixel. Your ad set may hit a slightly different pocket of the exact same audience than ours. Your ad may work like gangbusters and ours doesn't. Ours may work like gangbusters and yours doesn't. Okay? So I want you to understand that even if we gave you, hey, we're making, $2,000 a day in profits. And I operate in profits, not in revenues, because really at the end of the day, what's more important? The money you take home or the money that, shows up in a dashboard? I prefer to work on money that I take home. So let's say we're making $2,000 a day in profit. And I go, hey, ShineOn community, here's go play, and give you everything. There's no guarantee that it'll work just as well for you. Now, there's a good chance that it might, but there's no guarantee. Okay, letting you know. So how accurate is this? Well, during this test, we had 5 orders, small test. Okay, and how many did we track? 2, 4, 5. 100% accurate. I know that this ad, and then this ad, and then this ad got me sales. So I want to further test it. I know that I need to work with family and pets as my target because my naming convention was smart. In my ad, even though I was tracking the ad name, I was like, I'm only going to see this information in my tracking. So I need to make sure I have all the relevant information in there. I know what image worked. I can see that this was a slightly variation of the image, and then this was the same image, but the target was pets and family. So I got sales on pets and family, and I can see my conversion rate by target here too. Now, what also is cool is if you're trying to be efficient with your money and you're running a new phrase test and you want to say, hey, does this have legs? Should I let it run like maybe after $15 of ad spend? Your cost per link click looks good, but you don't have any purchases. Should I keep running it? Well, do you have any add to carts? Do you have any initiate checkouts? UTM tracking shows it. We had 5 add to carts, 2 initiate checkouts, 2 purchases. Okay? So this gives you that vital information that Ads Manager used to be able to do, but can't anymore. On average, what we're seeing, even with Conversion API set up in our stores, we are only getting about 54% of the conversions that we get in our store are showing up in our Ads Manager. That's a little crazy, and I'll talk about why that is at the end of this video. So that is setting up tracking for your platform. That's it. Simple, free. We did it for you. Use it. The only bit that you have to do is put in a few extra minutes of work on making sure that your images and your ad sets, or your ad names and your ad set names and your campaign names are unique. That's it. Then you can see, you can run your normal optimization, and that solves half the problem. Okay, so now let's do the exact same thing, but now we need to talk about Shopify. So normally, Shopify, if you're going to use a Shopify store, the normal mentality out there is set up UTM tags, run it through Google Analytics, you'll see your data. I did that. I did that and many other things. The problem with Google Analytics at this moment in time is that it's over-reporting. I don't know why. I verified it's set up correctly, but it's over-reporting our sales. That's not helpful either. Under-reporting is not helpful. Over-reporting is not helpful. So I was like, okay, the issue isn't so much UTM tags are wrong. The issue is that if we're looking at the data on Google Analytics, that's taking it to a third-party platform, right? So we own our Shopify store. We own that data. That is first-party data. So I was like, all right, so we need to figure out a way to see the UTM information directly in Shopify. And wouldn't you know it, Shopify provides the reporting we need. So we're going to figure out, or I'm going to show you how to set that up. I've been doing Shopify advertising for 10 years now. No, I take that back. It was 13. 8 years now. Been Shopify advertising for 8 years. I didn't know this until a few weeks ago. So don't feel bad if you've been operating and you're like, wait, what? It's that simple of a fix? Yeah, it's really that simple of a fix. So let's go down to Shopify app. For Shopify, you can apply this. So really, it's the campaign name plus the ad set name plus the ad name. So we can get a little bit more information here because it columnizes it. It puts the reporting puts it in a column. So what we'll do is we'll take this, copy, go back to our ads manager, and let's go here. Create, and we'll go back and we'll create that test again. Whoops. So again, unique campaign name, unique ad set name, unique ad name. That's important. Now, if you skipped ahead, I'm going to say this again, and if you watched from the platform, okay, I apologize for saying it again. But if you skipped ahead, for UTMs to work well, every name has to be unique. If you're going to duplicate this and you're going to end up with 5 or 6 or 12 unique ad set names, and are all the same name, all the data is going to get lumped together. So if you're going to duplicate, fine, but take the extra 3 minutes to go through. So let's say if I do this, I'm going to duplicate, I'm going to have 5. Where'd it go? Come on, Facebook, work with me. God, I love Facebook. There. Now maybe I can do it. Nope. All right, so let's just do 3 of them. Okay, so you want to make sure that your names are all unique. So if I edit this and I go to edit each ad set, you'll see Facebook does it. If I do a 1 by 1 by 1, if I go and I click duplicate, duplicate, duplicate. If I duplicated it twice, if it didn't glitch, because it's Facebook and good for Facebook, it would show up like this. So the duplications would have the exact same name. That doesn't help us. So what would happen if you did that is if you had the same name like this, then here, let's say they were all the same. Same thing, okay? And let's say you have a sale here, no sale here, and a sale here. The UTM tracking would show 2 sales, and it would show 1 time. You wouldn't know which ad set actually got the sale. So do yourself a favor and make them unique. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Just make them unique, okay? So do that on all of the duplications. So you see how unique ad name, they would all show up. So if you want to see which ad really got it, you got to give a little bit of a tag. 2, 3, all unique, okay? That way you can really see where the stuff goes. Got it? Promise me you'll do that. Otherwise, this doesn't work. Don't be lazy. Thank you. So to get that set up, what you'll do is you'll do the same thing. You'll go to an ad, and if you've got multiple ads, if you have ads running, and add it to the thing. Okay, it'll go into review for maybe an hour. It'll reapprove it, and then it'll kick back in. Okay, so what you do is you'll scroll all the way down to the bottom, get your ads, go in here, paste. No, that's not right. Let's go back and get our UTM string. There. UTM campaign, campaign name, content, ad set name, ad name. All right, and that's it. Now, how do we set it up in Shopify? Okay, so that's all the work that we need to get done in Ads Manager. So we can close that out. Don't need the Business Manager, and now we're in Shopify. Okay, so now I want to see, well, where did my data go? Now, I will say these reports that I'm going to show you will not actually populate any information until you have the UTM tags set up and information like traffic is actually flowing. Okay, so if you go there and you're like, oh, I set it up, now let me go get the stuff going. You're not going to see any information until traffic is actually flowing through these UTM tags. Okay, also, one other note, you have to be on either the Shopify plan or the advanced Shopify plan or Shopify Plus, which don't ever get on Shopify Plus. It's a complete waste of money. Different story, different time. If you're on basic Shopify, I do not know offhand, but I don't believe Shopify Lite will give you the reporting functionality to build this report. So Shopify Lite, if I remember correctly, is $29.99. Shopify regular is $79.99. It's $50 a month to tell you what actually is working. So if you're not on it, seriously consider it. I know $50 a month can be a lot for a lot of people. I get that. But it's worth it. And it's the cheapest solution. If you're already on Shopify, you're golden. If you're on advanced Shopify, you're golden. Okay? If you're on basic Shopify, think about it. No, I have no dog in this fight from Shopify standpoint, right? Like I just want to help you get good tracking. And this is the only way that I have tried. And I have tried 5 different ways to do this. And this is the best way to do this. It's also the cheapest way to do this that I have found. Okay? So, without further ado, analytics, reports, scroll down. Sales attributed to marketing. Choose a date range. Let's go with, I don't know. We'll go here. Okay? We want to get rid of UTM campaign name is not NA because I actually want to see where my direct sales come from. NA means it wasn't tagged with anything specific. And it's usually a direct sale or an organic referral or something like that. But I do want to see. So let me get rid of that. See, NA. And we had 14 sales. That's pretty cool. That means 14 sales that I didn't have to pay ads for. Pretty neat to know that. Now, edit columns. I want to know my average order value. I think that's pretty cool to know. I would like to know the cost. If you are not entering your COGS data into your Shopify, you're doing yourself a disservice. You could run a report like if you're paying order metrics, $150, $200 a month, you're wasting money. You have COGS data, real COGS data. So you know what your costs are. We tell you what they are. So plug in your cost, add the shipping costs. You know what our shipping costs are. Add those to them because then you know your total cost, right? You will know your total cost. And with this reporting, you'll be able to look at, here's my profit, here's my ad spend. As long as profit is above ad spend, you made money. Pretty cool. So, cost column. It takes, depending on how many products you have in your store, okay, yes, it may take a little while. Do the work. You want to get out of a 9 to 5, want to be a millionaire, you want to be an e-com guru, whatever, do the work. Gross profit takes my cost out, so I got revenue minus cost, tells me my profit. No guessing. Put the work in. Scroll down. I don't need this because these are all NAs. I actually don't even know what those are for. So throw these back up. You will need content and term. So UTM content and term. And why? Because we told Facebook that we want to track UTM content as the ad set name and UTM term as the ad name. Okay? Now, I want to know where these NAs came from. And this doesn't have to be when you're doing ad optimization, because if you go with what I'm going to show you next, if you take these two columns, then it could technically separate. So if I go traffic referrer name, all right, so let me see. So, okay, here we go. So this is the same thing. And you're like, well, Jim, why is that? Well, 5 sales came from Facebook, 4 sales came from Instagram. Okay, if you're just optimizing the ad set or your campaign, then I would leave the traffic referrer name off, because then that'll lump them together. See, so it lumps it together into 9 sales. But if I want to see where my NAs came from, then I would want to go with traffic name and source. So I know that I had 4 sales that came to my site directly. Somehow they typed in our URL and bought from us. That's fantastic. And then I've got 5 sales that came from Facebook but aren't attached to an ad. So what is that? Why does that happen? That happens when someone tags a name in the comments or shares, and they're like, oh, that looks cool. And then they buy it. They still buy it from an ad, but they don't buy it from an ad impression. So if they don't buy it from something we paid for a paid ad impression, it does not get charged to us, and it does not get tagged with the UTMs. It's just the way it's set up in Facebook. So they're free sales. They come from an ad, but Facebook has no way to track it because it's not a paid impression. Okay, so that's what that means. All right, so let's go in here and really look at it real quick. Let me scroll and get these. So now, just like with our platform, we now see our campaign name, our ad set name, and our ad name, how many orders we had, what our conversion value is. You want to know your order value, you've got it, how much our COGS are, and what our gross profit is. So when I'm optimizing my ads, I don't look at total sales. I don't care about total sales. We talked about this early. I care about profit, money. So this is what I go off of. If in the same time frame, August 17th to 20th, if this ad set cost me less than $426, I made money. I'm a happy camper. Now, we can split hairs and say, well, if you spent more than $200 on it, then it's kind of a failed ad. No, it's not. Made me money. Money's good. I don't care if I'm at a 3% profit margin. Made me money. Okay? I like scale. I like doing big numbers. You saw my reports, right? Like I did $2.2 million in a month. I'll take that. It may not be, I think I was at no, that was actually a really good month. We were at like a 30-40% profit margin there. But there are months where like I scale. Okay, so we'll go back to I did another one Q4 last year. $1.2 million in sales, 32 days. Okay, I made 11% on my money, net profit. Who cares, right? It's $110,000 in profit in 32 days. Do I care that it was 10% and not 20%? No. Because if I want to stick at 20% or 30% or 40% profit margin, it means I'm making like $100 a day, $200 a day. You want huge scale, you have to work on small margins. It's just life. The more money you dump into a budget, the higher the costs are going to be. Okay? Okay. Now, Jim, why can't I see add to carts, initiate checkouts on this report? I don't know why they didn't give us that option on this report, but I can do it on this report. Sessions attributed to marketing. Same thing. And go in, get rid of the NA, filter. I can go in and say, I want to see, I don't care about those guys. I do care about content and term. And I care about, oh, where did they go? Here we go. Added to cart, reach checkout, and my conversion rate. So now, let me scroll to the bottom here and scooch over. Now I can see, so this one had 220 visitors, 18 add to carts, 2.69 conversion rate. Okay, add to cart, initiate checkout. So it is on 2 separate reports. Worst case scenario, you can have it up in 2 different tabs if you want to refer. So if you're in the initial testing phase, whatever section, you're setting up new ads and you're running that initial testing stuff, and you want to see, does it have add to carts? Does it have initiate checkouts? Here's your report. It's just a second report. Okay? Doesn't cost you anything else. This is 100% accurate. 100% accurate tracking. Why is it 100% accurate tracking? Because it's first party. Okay? This is our store. Like, look at it like it's your store, right? Like, this is my store. I own this data. I paid for this data. I've got this data. I own it. You can't tell me how to use it. It's mine. The users gave up their rights when they landed on our site. Now, if it's in Europe and they have to do the whole GDPR compliance thing and they have to push a little button that says, yes, I accept cookies for that to fire, okay, fine. But this is our solve. If you're on Shopify or our platform, you now have 100% tracking. So I initially talked about that this is half the battle, right? Like tracking your stuff is half the battle. How do we figure out a way to actually get our ads to perform better? So I looked into it, researched on it for about a week, tried a bunch of different things, had some conversations with really smart dudes that are better than me, and really it boiled down to the fact that we as marketers can send all of our purchase data that we own back to Facebook. Whether we export our buyers list or add to cart list or whatever, and we upload it to Facebook manually, or we create an API connection, or we use another software to do that. We can send all the data back to Facebook. But no matter what we do, Facebook is still going to take that data that we give it, and it's going to run it through their filter. And their filter is very simple. Are you iOS? If you are you opted in or are you opted out? If you are iOS and opted out, you automatically are filtered out, and that data does not go into our algorithm and our pixel to optimize, and it does not show up in our ads reporting. That's why CAPI doesn't work, Conversion API. That's why uploading things don't work. You're going to see my son here in a minute. Here he is. Here's my baby boy. He wanted to say hi. Hi, ShineOn. He loves saying hi. So there is no way, based off of the current contracts between Apple and Facebook, for a data from a user that has opted out for tracking to get into your algorithm to optimize. And that's a bummer. So what does that mean? That means our pixel is running off of roughly 65%, 65% of the available data. So our pixels are dumber. They optimize less. They're not as good. That's okay. They were dumb in 2013 and 14 too, and I still made a boatload of money. Okay? So how do we work this new environment that we're in with the algorithm is still very smart, okay? It's just not as smart and doesn't optimize as well. So things we can try. Very small niched audiences and smaller budgets. That's one way. Works sometimes, it doesn't work the other times. Actually, in the test that I'm running, I did a whole bunch of small audiences. A handful of them worked pretty well. The others didn't work at all. I also am running very broad audiences, very similar. Some work, some don't. What was very interesting, and things that I think you should very seriously test, is go into manual placements in the ad set. Make sure I'll just show it to you. Why not? Oops, wrong thing. Here we go. And we're going to go, where's it? Yes. create. Logo conversion. It's like an epically long video, isn't it? I apologize for the length. Okay, so you're in your ad set, right? I'm setting up my ad set, and why not go to manual placements, show more options, and go Android devices only. Why do that? Because it removes iOS people. What's our problem? Our problem is that when ads are served to people who have opted out of iOS 14.5 tracking, we can't see that data in Facebook. We can see it now on either our platform or Shopify, so that's great. But that data does not come back to Facebook to optimize for our campaigns. So why not just get rid of it? 60% of mobile traffic, 40% of mobile traffic. Do I guarantee this work? Nope. I don't guarantee anything works in marketing. You cannot. If anyone says this is a lock, buy my whatever, this will work every single time, run. They're lying. That's not true. It cannot guarantee. No one can guarantee that any of this stuff is going to work. But it's worth a try. I tried it. Set up 5 campaigns, 3 of which after day 1 were super profitable. And guess what else? All of the purchases tracked in Ads Manager. Small test. Is it going to work long term? I don't know. We just started it. It's worth a test for you. Run Android devices only on some of your stuff. Set up 2 campaigns. Set up 1 campaign to run normal, all placements. Set up another campaign removing iOS data. See what works better. Your ad account will work differently than my ad account. I don't know why. I wish they all did. It'd make my life a lot easier. But they don't. Okay, they all are unique. So don't get discouraged. If you want to be successful in this game, you have to love failure. To be successful in this game, you have to love to fail, fast and cheap. Because the faster and cheaper I can fail, the quicker I get to profitability. If you hate failure, this is not a game for you. Go focus on Etsy and Amazon, because then it's just literally a shotgun approach, right? Like, let me get as many products up as I possibly can, and eventually I'll get sales and I'll get momentum. If you want to do paid ads, you have to get comfortable with failing. It's okay to fail. It is. Failing has made me a lot of money, and I fail probably 70 to 80% of the time. And I'm still here, and I'm still profitable, and I'm still working, and we're still doing great. Okay? So I really hope that this epically long, almost 40-minute video has helped. If it has, please post comments below. Please ask your questions. I'm here to help, here to answer your questions, and hopefully you'll be able to see your data clearly now, make good optimization decisions. And that's a fancy word for turning stuff on and off, right? Like we're flipping switches. So if you know what to turn off, you know what to duplicate to keep running, because of accurate tracking, that solves a lot of headaches. And then we just have to figure out and test different ways to help Facebook optimize more so that we can, continue to grow and scale. Test the Android devices only. I don't guarantee that it will work for you, but it's worth a test. Okay? All right. Thank you guys so much, and I will chat with you soon.